Hello friends, you're with the Lonesome Gamer and I'm playing 1835. And in my last video I realized I made a mistake at the beginning of the game. Trading between companies or the train purchase between companies is not allowed before the first 3 train is purchased. So therefore I could not exchange trains between the minor companies at the beginning of the game. Well, this guy did that, and he used the money to upgrade this and all, and I think he didn't profit too much from that. I think basically he kind of screwed up anyway here in this area, so I think it doesn't matter a lot here. But he definitely did get quite an advantage out of it, because you know there were 170 bucks in here but only 80 in here, and he bought 2 trains and here 1 train, and then he simply bought 1 train from here to here. And the 170 bucks company was sitting in Berlin, which only had a single exit out of Berlin. That means before 3 they could run only a single train. So therefore the money for the second train was basically just sitting there in here. That's what should have happened, but it didn't, because instead I kind of transferred the money into the other company and then ran 2 trains with the other company, which I should not have been allowed to. And I think that gave him a pretty big boost. So therefore I removed 50 bucks from him. I mean, the second train was not terribly valuable, basically. It just ran for 40, I guess. And in addition to that, first he had to shuffle the trains once, which also gave him, which also cost him a little money. So therefore, I don't think he had such a massive boost, but I removed 50 bucks to kind of fix that. And now he's in the priority position here. And he's going to make a choice now. And it's a very interesting one, because, first of all, he's got now the option to start the Badische Eisenbahn. That's a pretty good one. It starts down here. And it can make then the connection here to the Ruhr area, which is already quite upgraded, and there's a lot of money there. And there's also a easy connection to Frankfurt, which also gives money. So that is, and down here Elsass-Lothringen, at least during this specific period you get 50 bucks out of this. Later on it will not be accessible because it belongs to France, but in this specific period you can make a lot of money there. So that seems to be a profitable option. On the other hand, as soon as this thing is purchased by someone, shares of the Prussian, and there are 4 of those, for a price of 154, which is pretty big, shares of the Prussian may be purchased. And the Prussian is a very powerful line once it starts. Now he's the guy who controls when it will actually start. And if we take a look at the situation in his miners, there are 2 trains here, a 2 and a 2 plus train here. So once the 4 train is purchased, all these trains would go away. I mean, he could start again shuffling, and then he would have the option to buy himself possibly a 3 train. But he could also decide, okay, now I'm trainless here, and I could start, and it's up to him to decide that. I could start the Prussian, because he can start the Prussian when the first 4 train is purchased. The owner of the Berlin-Potsdamer Bahn can then basically exchange that for a sheet of the Prussian. And then he'd also get 5% here and another 10% here. Now if he uses his money and buys all these Prussian shares, he'd be at 65%. And that is perfectly legal. You can have up to 100% of a company in this game. So that would be totally fine. And I think he'd be eager to get there. That would be a very, very strong position if he could get there. However, if he invests his money in shares of the Prussian and not in shares of other companies, I assume there will be only 2 other companies that will start: the Badische and the Württembergische. Because I don't think that players have enough money to then start 3 companies. I mean, they could possibly, but then they have to sell shares of the very successful companies that operate right now and so on. And if there are only 2 companies opening, if you look at that, there are 3 trains left here before we come to the 4 train. And the 4 train has to be purchased before the Prussian can open. So it is not too unlikely that players will arrange things in a way that maybe the 4 train will not be purchased, so that he is then sitting on his Prussian shares but cannot open. That would be obviously a disaster. So I think that would be too risky. I might maybe roll a die, but I think what he's gonna try instead is maybe he's gonna try to start the Badische, and then he might consider buying, for example, 2 shares or so of the Preußische instead of 4. That and if he controls the Badische, he can then force to buy, he can force the train rush, maybe buy 2, 3+3 trains, and then I'm pretty sure the other guys will buy also 1 or 2, and if they don't, he can still say, okay, then screw it, I'm gonna buy the next 4 train, and that so that I can open the Prussian. So that is the decision he's gonna make right now, and that's definitely a big choice here. So now there are a few interesting things going on here. This guy started the Badische, 168 for the presidency, so it starts basically at 84. He's passing. He's got a lot of money, and he hopes once the Badische is floated, he'll be able to start the Württembergische. It's not in the best position here. It's kind of isolated here, but still, I mean, it's a presidency which is a double share, and the share limit is at 15. So the share limit is definitely an issue in this game, and you want as many double shares as possible. And also, if you own 80% of a company, you can get a 9th share which does not count against the share limit. That's a little weird rule, but it's Yeah, so basically, if you have 90% of a company, one of the certificates, or the last certificate, does not count. This guy is in a similar position. He also says, hey, I'm going to pass. And I hope if this guy starts the Württembergische, then I can start the next one, the Hessische. So for him, the position is not that great, because he realizes, okay, if all these suckers start their companies, I'm sitting on a lot of money and I won't be able to start anything, because I cannot simply start the next company if this one is floated, because all the companies have to be sold out before a company of the last tier, and there are only 2 companies left then, might be started. So what am I going to do? Well, basically I got 2 options. I could either invest in these other companies that will start now, or I could also invest in the Prussian. I mean, right now I only get 5% of the Prussian, which isn't too great, but I might as well say, hey, I'm going to invest in these 4 shares of the Prussian that are sitting here, and in this way try to get some additional money. Anyway, I think I'm in a position where I can simply wait and see what the other guys are doing. Right now it seems the Badische might be the most profitable one, and the Württembergische is not in a good position, but maybe the Hessische will also do fine. We'll see. So, and it turned out as expected. This guy managed to float the Badische, and this guy, the president of the Bayerischen, helped him with that. And over here, now, the moment it floated, the Badische floated, he started to buy shares of the Württembergische. He will keep on passing, so in the end he's got the option to buy the Hessische. Now he's in the position where he says, I still have a lot of money, but I'm gonna wait. Why? Well, these people here do have a lot of money, but it's not totally sure if they actually have the money to, I mean, they probably have the money to float the company. I was thinking, if they don't have the money to float the company, they might be forced to sell some of their shares of already established companies, and then I might get the chance to get 1 or 2 of those. On the other hand, there's enough money here, it seems. This guy is sitting at, well, something like 260, 70. So that's going to be enough to float the Württembergische. And he is also in a position where he has enough money to float the Sächsische. He definitely has 420. So I don't really see that coming, and therefore I might as well buy shares of other companies, maybe to get the chance to be in priority at the beginning of the next operating round. So if I buy these shares now and not wait, I might have an advantage here. So, well, yeah, I'm not totally sure in which company. Do I want to invest all my money in the Badische, hoping it will go, it will be good? Maybe I would want to spend a few bucks here, a few bucks there, and so on. Maybe that makes more sense. So the Württembergische is floated now. Overall 60% are now actually sold. 50 are only necessary. This guy starts the Hessische now. He bought the directorship also for basically a par price of 84. And now this player here has the option to buy the last share of this company. And that is a double share with a little misprint here. I had to do the 2 here. So that's a double share. And that is definitely something you want to have. You want to have those double shares. So because it's, toward the end of the game, it's an additional share basically you can hold because of the certificate limit. So there's also some timing involved, right? So if you do that cleverly, you might be able to get this last share. Now, this last share works like every other certificate. You can simply sell it or buy it for double the value from the bank and so on. In 49, for example, that's a little different. This has to be the last share you buy or sell. So if it goes to the bank, you cannot buy it. And if there are other shares, you could not buy that immediately. You have to wait until it is literally the last share. Now, this kind of rule doesn't apply here. This is just your standard certificate, basically. Now, here comes another rule now in play. There's one guy now owning 60% of a company, and it's the first time in the game that someone actually owns 60%. He was always sitting on 50% of the Bayerische, but not on 60%. If you own 60% of a company, you have an interesting option. You can force another player to sell you one of your shares during a stock round. That is something which is really, I think, totally unique in all these games. But you can do that here. And it's called nationalization. There is a penalty for you. If you do that, you have to pay 1.5 times the market value. So the other player can make quite a bit of money out of this. But you can force someone to sell you shares if you are confident that it's going to be a good company. In addition to that, there's another advantage, and I already told you that. If you hold 80% of a company, then the 9th certificate does not count against the limit. So you might be very interested in saying, okay, I'm going to force at least 3 other people. If I'm sitting at 60%, I'm going to force 3 other people to sell me their shares, because then I get basically 1 free certificate. That is clearly an interesting choice. Now, he's not in the position to do that at the moment because he doesn't have enough money, but he could do it maybe in the next stock round. And in some way, that's also a kind of an interesting, that kind of encourages people to cross-invest even more and that kind of applies for both reasons. You could say, okay, I don't want other people to hold more than 50%. But on the other hand, I could say, hey, if I hold 20% and another guy holds 80%, I can be sure he wants to buy one of my certificates. And I get 1.5 the market value for that. So it's a good deal for me, right? So that is clearly an interesting concept of this game. Okay, so the owner of the Bayerischen, he passed. He was hoping this guy was eager to get 60%, buy that share, and then he would be able to get the last share, the 20% share of the Württembergischen. By the way, these 20% shares, the last ones, are only these in this tier. In the first tier, every share except the presidency is worth 10%. In the next tier, however, the first 3 shares are 20% shares. So that makes the last companies, although they are usually not that good when it comes to the route, and also although they have less starting money, that makes them quite attractive. Anyway, so my idea was now to say, okay, I pass. hope that guy buys this share and then I can buy the double share. It didn't work out that way. He doesn't have the money, and he says, okay, I probably still get the option to buy that last share to get the 60% in the next turn. So now he still has enough money left to buy exactly one share. And here's the choice now to choose between the Württembergische and the Hessischen. He chooses the Württembergische, and his hope is that maybe, because this guy still has to buy shares to float his Hessische, his hope is that then he'll get priority and he might be able to buy the Württembergische, the last double share. That would be awesome. But now is the question, maybe now some other people, and that is also something he obviously calculated, if that's not the case, and now maybe some other people will sell shares to buy that double share. For example, he might be really tempted to do that now. So he might sell a share of the Bayerischen or of the Sächsischen. Then I'm still in priority because he's got to float that thing, and I get the option to buy another share of these already established companies. So overall, it brings me in a good position. So next is him. So he bought that share of the Württembergische, thinking about all these things, but now it's him. And now exactly what happens is he sells now a share of the Bayerischen because he thinks, hey, this thing is worth 136 bucks. Right now I don't have the money to buy a share, but if I sell that thing, I can afford the double share of the Württembergische. And so the share value drops one space, and then he's got to pay 36. So he's got to spend 32 to buy that last share. Okay. And you know what? I forgot to adjust the share value at the end of the OR. If a company is sold out, or if all players hold shares of a company, the share value goes up. I'm pretty sure that these guys are all at the top. So this guy would be here now, and he would get 166 for that share. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they both were sold out for quite a while. I mean, definitely the Bayerische, probably also the Sächsische. I think they should be both at the top. But that didn't influence the game. Nobody really was so willing to sell any shares until now. Now, what's kind of interesting is, what about these guys? I mean, there's another thing. Is he really willing to buy the Württembergische? He now could also invest in shares of the Preußische instead, because now he can be pretty sure that the Preußische will get started. There are 3 new companies out there, so now he can start the Preußische. That might be an option. If he sells shares of the Sächsische, he's got a ton of money, which will allow him to buy probably 3 shares of the Preußische. That might be even more interesting, and I think he's going to do that. So maybe he should have done that before buying another share of the Badische, but that is now too late. But I think instead of buying a share of the Württembergische, he will buy shares of the Preußische. So the question is now, does he want to also sell his shares of the Sächsische? And I think he actually wants to do that. So all these shares go also away. They are both worth $108. So the share value drops only by 1, because even if you sell 2 shares, it drops by 1. So he gets another 216. But you know what? I think I'm going to wait before I actually sell these shares. Reason is, if I do that, I mean, if I start now buying shares of the Preußische, there's a good chance that other people will do the same. So I might not need to sell shares of the Sächsische simply because there is not enough money, there are not enough shares for me to buy here. And these shares are very good, the shares of the Sächsische at the moment. So I kind of want to avoid to sell them if possible. It would be an interesting, I mean, what I could do is I could buy that share of the Württembergische, and maybe I can still afford, but 2 shares of the Preußische, but I don't think so. I wish I hadn't bought that last share of the Badische, but it's too late now. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a share of the Preußische instead of that double share of the Württembergische. So that gives me 150, or that costs me 154. A lot of money, but it's a great share. And now I'm holding 35% of the Preußische. And now this guy, well, he might now also say, okay, the Bayerische will probably not be that super good. At least they got to swallow once. So maybe investing now in the Preußische makes a lot of sense. And I will also sell a share of the Bayerische for 150. Might even consider selling 2 shares, but yeah, maybe I want to do that. You know what? I'm gonna do it the other way. I'm gonna sell a single share for 150. Pay another 18, and then buy myself that last share of the Württembergische. So then we see this guy over here, and there are 3 shares of the Preußische left now. So he's definitely also gonna sell a share of the Bayerische. And you know, that's a thing. Usually you sell all your shares of a company, but in this specific case, when there are only 4 shares left, it probably makes sense to sell only a single share. Well, technically he doesn't even have to right now. He still has money left. But I'm pretty sure other people will sell. It's not that sure. Okay, I'm going to use money. Let me see. I got 4 shares of the Hessische already. I need 1 more share of the Hessische to make that work. So I got to make sure that I got that money. But so I got to sell a share, that's for sure. I got to sell at least 1 share. So I'm going to sell that share of the Bayerische for 136. And then I'm going to spend also another $18 basically to buy a share of the Preußische. And now he's in an interesting position, because technically when 2 other people also, or when 1 other guy also holds shares of the Preußische, I mean, okay, as long as only 1 other guy holds a share of the Preußische, it doesn't really help him. But let's say everybody would have bought a share of the Preußische. He might as well say, hey, I'm not going to open it and I'm going to run my companies, because everybody loses the same amount of money. But I think it's still a good investment at that point. Then it's him, and well, what is he going to do? I think he still does simply nothing. He's going to hold on to his shares, and he will have priority because this guy still has to float the Hessische. So he probably will have priority. And yeah, that will give him then the option to buy back, for example, shares of the Bayerische. And this guy here, well, he's kind of happy. Nobody except this guy bought a poison share, so he wants to buy another one. That means he's going to sell a share of the Sächsische Eisenbahn. That gives him 108. And then he spends another, well, he needs 54, so he needs basically 46 to buy another share. Actually what he does is he sells also a share of the Bayerische Eisenbahn, goes back in here. And remember, all these shares in the bank pool give money to the company. But he buys instead shares of the Sächsische Eisenbahn. So the share value drops even further. So the Bayerische lost massively in this OR, in this stock round. Gets 124, so basically he gets 24 bucks from the bank. This guy here, he can buy actually another share of the poison. So then he's also sitting at 40%, which is cool for him. For 154, he gets back 46. And he gets that share. And that's it. We're done. The poison is sold out. Or not sold out, but these specific shares of the poison are sold out. So this guy holds now 35% of the 40% over there. This guy holds 5. This guy holds 45 if you include this one here. And this guy is sitting on 10%. So, and as the last action of the stock round, this guy sells another Bayerische for 114. Well, actually, is that even possible? Yeah, there may be only up to 50% in the pool, but that is possible. So it drops even further, and he buys then another Hessische, which will float the Hessische, and that gives him then, he gets back some money for that. So he might even be able to buy another share. We'll see. Maybe he can buy another Hessische. So let's see. He had now, he gets 22. No, that's not true. It was at 114. So that means he gets 30 bucks. And then he's sitting on 40, 50, 75. It's not quite enough to get himself another share. But hey, he's fine. So he gets 30 bucks. That's what we said. Okay, and priority goes here. So he has now the option to buy back all these beautiful shares of the Bayerischen. And that's pretty cool, because even if everybody will buy them back, because there are 5 shares, he's going to get 2 of them, which brings him then to 70%. And that's really great. The Bayerische might not be that great right now, but I'm pretty sure at the beginning of the next cycle of ORs, it will be in a good shape. And then, yeah, he can buy 2 of them instead of only 1, like the others. Maybe even more, we'll see. I mean, there will be also companies to start in the next OR, but first the Hessische has to be sold out. So I really like that. You know, there was a lot of going on in stock rounds, and I like these stock rounds where there is a lot of movement. And although it seems in this game, you know, there's not that much going on, and the share value only drops a single time if you sell shares, so it's all kind of boring. And so this is not the case at all. As I said, you can see a lot of actions in stock rounds simply because there is also so much cross investing, and it's not just boring, I buy all my shares and you buy all your shares and so on. No, there's a lot going on in this one. Now the Hessische starts here in Frankfurt, and it floated, and I got to give the companies now the money. So maybe this guy actually made a mistake here, and he might consider selling a share of the Sächsische and buying another share of the Hessische. The problem is there's only 420 bucks in the company because only 5 shares are sold. The others all start with 840. So I think what he might say is, hey, I need more money in my company. I definitely want to run 2 trains, right? And if I want to buy 2 trains and I'm going to be the last company that starts, I kind of have to invest nearly 700 bucks or something. Shit, do I really want to? That's really painful, man. To get there, I need 9 shares. I won't be able to get those 9 shares. Maybe I shouldn't have bought the Preußische, but I wanted those. So, you know, it kind of seems like, okay, it seems like I have to accept it. Seems like I'm sitting on these shares of the Hessische and they won't make that much money right now. What I could do though is I could trade in this share, maybe I want to do that. I could buy the 3 train from the Berlin-Stettiner Bahn, and yeah, that's probably a good idea. I think I want to do that, so I'm fine, I guess. Okay, yeah, I'm okay. And we got to do the adjustment, so that means the Sächsische goes up again, the Bayerische not, the Württembergische and the Hessische also go up. No, that's actually not true. The Hessische not, the Badische, they go up. Okay, how could I forgot that, man? Yeah, well. So now we start again with the minor companies. This guy here starts, and there's also some kind of bad surprise now for the owner of the Badische, because he thought, yeah, cool, I'm going to lay a tow track here and everything's good and I'm connected to these guys. But it's not going to be that easy, because this company lays a tile like this, simply because they are interested in kind of making a connection here with the Hessische as soon as possible. And maybe they can screw this guy over at least a little bit. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Then I got 2 trains. I can run here for 40. On the other hand, I might be interested in upgrading Essen-Duisburg first. I can still do that tile placement because the other guy here, he can only do a single tile lay. and he's going to upgrade that before he can upgrade it, before he can place a tile here. So you know what? I might as well say I'm not going to play that right now, but I want the extra revenue, and therefore I'm going to pay 50 bucks, which is painful, but okay. And I'm going to upgrade this one here. They look a little weird in this one, you know, they're not kind of edgy a little bit here in 1830. These guys look different. And again, they are all a little different, so you gotta be careful how you actually do that. I think I want a connection like this basically here. So maybe something like this looks kind of interesting, right? I might do that, for example. Yeah, I think I might want to do that. I mean, it could be interesting to make a connection to this token too. So maybe there is something that helps me here, but I don't think so. I'm gonna need probably not. No, I'm gonna do it like this. That's okay with me. So yeah, I can run now. Well, the 4 doesn't have a train anyway. I see. I mean, here's the thing. This is probably my last run anyway before the 2's rust. So it doesn't really matter. Okay, I can run the 2 trains now. So I'm going to run here for 70 and I'm going to run here for 80. So wait a minute. There's a lot to consider, you know. If this is the last run, I could trade in the company. Yeah, I mean, this guy could open the preußische, and he's probably interested in doing that because he bought 2 shares. And I also have a lot of shit there. So I'm also interested in trading my companies in for the preußische, which means maybe I will not get a second tile lay. So you know what? I'm not going to do that. Actually, I'm going to help. Yeah, I'm going to help the hessische by placing the tile here. And this is it. This is all I'm going to do. The reason is simple, because I might not get this tile lay. Yeah, because once the preußische opens, it's very likely that these companies, that the miners will simply go away. So I can run 2 trains. That means I'm going to make a little less money now. So we can run for 80 and for 50, which means it's 13. So yeah, 65. Okay, and again, I'm going to reconsider all that stuff. I'm not going to let these guys fall into the preußische immediately. I have the option to run them until the 5 trains come. Why would I want to do that? There's quite a bit of money in there. And I think I want to transfer the money into the hessische, or maybe buy a train or somehow get the money into the hessische before I let these 3 fall into the preußische. Or, I mean, I could work together with him and say, okay, you know, I hold a lot of shares of the preußische, so why not? Well, the reason is simple, because he's the president and he can take the money out of the preußische and use it for the badische. He holds a lot of shares of it. So, yeah, it would give him an advantage then. So, yeah, I think I'm actually gonna upgrade this, run for the highest profit right now, and then gonna transfer the money into the hessische before the money goes. I'm going to roll a die for that. On a 1 to 4, I'm going to do it this way. Okay, so yeah. So the miners are done with their runs. The 5 had a good run with 170, I think, from Dresden to Ostpreußen and from Berlin to Magdeburg. And yeah, the companies, the miners are making good money right now. This guy is trying to shuffle the trains to get all that money here somehow into the Hessische. And yeah, this guy here now will buy a 2 train and will then transfer all this money over here. That's a lot of money. And it might be enough to buy a 3+3, and that would be really cool if he could afford that. I think he might be able to. Let me see what the train limit is at that point. Yeah, I think it's still 4. So I'm pretty sure he can buy a 3+3, and then yeah, he will make a good run. So yeah, now it's the Bayer. No, wait a minute, is it? Actually, it isn't. That's kind of, yeah, the Sächsische starts. So because they are, yeah, they are $2 more valuable. But they cannot buy a train, which is good news. So the Bayerische will definitely get the 3+3. I mean, they would anyway. So, let's see what these guys do now. They still have this option to jump in here now and lay a tile there. But they don't have a token anymore. But they could consider doing this with the Württembergischen, maybe. Now the interesting thing is, though, do they actually have to lay a tile? Do they have to place a token, or can they just use that to place a tile? Because it can be very valuable if the tile is placed here in an orientation which is good for the Württembergische. Otherwise, they might get cut off here, and as I said, that could be very important. So actually, he doesn't have to place a token. So he simply could use that thing. This will close the company though, but I think that's worth it. I mean, it's a good revenue. It's $15 per share. But being cut off here kind of sucks. So let's see if we would find something which could be valuable here. We could do something like this. I'm not absolutely sure if I could choose on which place to put that token there, which is a little tricky, right? Because I mean, that's an important question technically, and I really don't know how that would work. I mean, it's sitting now here on the left space. So is that important? I don't know. I think it actually does matter where this thing lies. You can make a choice here. And I think it is totally legal now to place that tile in a way that it would help me. And I'm considering, wait a minute, which one was it? I thought about this one. That would give me access to this space. So if I place a tile here, I'll then be able to go north. Problem is these guys operate first. So they could then place a tile here and then maybe upgrade this. The question is there a tile there? No, there isn't. Sometimes you have these specific tiles, it's hard to say, where basically this thing goes here like it does here and the other one goes down here instead of here. But we don't have that tile here in the mix. So it would not be possible for, if they make a tile lay like this, then in the following turn they cannot upgrade this thing in a way it helps them. So I think that is great for the Württembergische. They can go here, and the Badische is in quite some trouble now. Because to go here, they got to make now this kind of, yeah, they got to go now like this, and that will take a while. So they are pretty much fucked here. But I think it is a legal move to do that with this specific company. This cost me the income of 15 bucks, but I think it was worth it. Okay, so and then the Sächsische can operate, and gotta lay a tile. Well, might go like this. Let's see. So this here, I think I want to go like this. This looks like a good idea. And I got this cool thing here for these flimsy ones. This is actually pretty cool. I hope it works now. So you place it just like this and you make a mess all around. With the left hand it's pretty hard to do, but in general it's a cool thing. Okay, and now we have an upgrade like this, and this is really great. Perfect. Love it. So now we have a 2+2 train and 3 trains, and I'm pretty sure we can make a ton of money here. So the 2+2 can start here and go to Berlin. We might be able to hit actually Berlin 3 times. Maybe even 4 times. That might be, no, not 4 times. Because we need a token there, which we don't have. But 3 times is possible. So we go like this. For the first time, that's the 2+2. The 3 train goes like this, I would say, from Hamburg to Berlin. And we got 3 more 3 trains. So one goes like, yeah. I think with the one guy we go here to Oberschlesien, and with the other guy we go here to Nürnberg-Fürth. So that is going to be a massive run. So let's see. We hit Berlin 3 times, Hamburg once, and this twice. So that means 6 times 4 is 240. This guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. That means 4 times 3 is 120. So we're at 360. 20 up here. No, wait a minute, we didn't take that, right? No, we didn't take that. But we're making another 20 here. So it's 380, which is an insane run. That's just fantastic. 380. Actually, I managed to make a 400 run. If I go from here, with a 2+2 here, with the first 3 I go here, with the second 3 I go here, and the third 3 goes here. That gives me a 400 run. So what we can do here, and the Bayerische does that, we can upgrade the double dots. So we use this, remove it, and we can upgrade it into this. That's pretty awesome because that allows the Bayerische also to hit Berlin twice. So they can use the 2 to go here. They can use the 2 plus 2 to go from Fürth to this little dot here through Berlin. And then they got another 2 plus 2, which they probably want to use down here. They can go from Nuremberg to München, which they also really should upgrade one day, but this is a pretty cool option to go to Berlin here. So basically that means they hit Berlin twice. This one, so it's 3 times 40, that's 120. They hit 2 times 30, so that is 180 then. And they hit 1, 2, 3 times 10, so that's 310 overall. No, 210. That's not that great, but it's still a good run, I guess. And they have now 1 less train. So 210. And now the question is, do they swallow or do they pay out? They want to buy a 3 plus 3. If they pay out, they get half the revenue. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be enough. Yeah, so they pay out the 210, and that gives the company 105. And the player also gets 105. And then they have the money to buy for 270 the 3 plus 3 train. Again, I miscalculated. It's actually 240, so it's 3 more per share. So 15 more for the company and 15 more for the owner. We need 270 bucks. 200, 50, 60, 70 to buy ourselves a 3 plus train, and that's definitely a good train. You absolutely want that. So the company is in a very good shape, and it didn't even have to swallow. Share value rises. So now it's the Badensche, and they are really screwed. So what can we do here? Well, I might try to lay a tile like this, hoping to cut through here. Maybe we can do that. But I guess someone else will then lay a tile like this, and they're kind of stuck again, so it doesn't even hurt more. That's a pretty bad news. It seems like we actually have to make it here, which will take us 3 tile placements. That is super painful. I mean, we can run that route here from Elsass to Mannheim, but this is just bullshit. I mean, this is really bad. I don't see any other choices right now, so I guess I gotta go like this. Yeah, and I mean, there is a connection between the these two companies that I do control. Well, basically between that one, the Magdeburg, and this one here, it goes basically through here. If I place a tile here, I can make that connection. So maybe I can then help the other guys a little bit, but it's going to be so hard to get anywhere here. So I don't really know how I can do that. That was a very, very painful tile placement here. And yeah, I got to buy a train with these guys. So the question is now, do I want the Prussian to open? And I think I do. I really think I have to do it. It sucks a little bit, but I got 2 shares of the Prussian, and maybe I should wait one more turn though and just give... I really don't know, man. Give the Magdeburger the option to do that tile placement. But it doesn't really do me that much good. But you know what? If I control the Prussian, yeah, that's true. If I control the Prussian, I'm going to get some tokens here, and then I can easily help these guys out. So I guess I'm fine. Yeah, so I can now simply buy... Do I want to buy 2 3+3 trains? Or do I want to buy only 1? And that is... That is now the question. Problem is, these 3+3 trains are the last non-permanent trains. But if I control the Prussian, I get a lot of money, and I think I might then be able to... You know, I think I want both of these guys. I might roll a die for that. See, I got this personality thing. Let's see how aggressive that player is. You know, I do these personality rolls. So he is the 3rd player. He's not terribly aggressive. So what I'm going to do is on a 1 to 3, I'm going to buy 2 of these trains. Otherwise, I'm going to only buy 1. Okay, so we're going to buy 2. And it's 540. There we go. Fine. And share value drops. That's it. So now it's the Württembergische with their first tile placement. And I need something... I think a straight, a simple straight will do it. So I'm just going to place it like this. So the next turn I can make a connection here. And I guess I'm happy then. Okay, I'm going to buy a single train, a 4 train. I would have the option. I mean, I could start juggling trains with these guys. But I don't know. Do I want to do that? I don't really think so. For the moment, I'm actually quite happy. I mean, maybe I could piss off the people who hold shares of the Prussian. But that's not going to happen, because this guy will eventually buy a 4 train, and so it doesn't really help me. There are 3 4 trains, a single 4 plus 4, and a 5 train down here. The thing is that the 4 trains are already permanent. So, you know, I think here's another interesting aspect. When the 4 trains come into play, the limit for the train limit will go down to 3. That means the Sächsische would actually lose a train. So that is definitely something we want to avoid. Therefore, I think I want to buy one of these trains over, and I'm thinking about buying another one, a 4 train, but I don't really think I'm gonna need that soon. So maybe I should wait a little bit. I think I will, and I want to give the Sächsische the option to buy, and I want to give the Sächsische the option to buy a train later, but for now they're in a good shape. 3 trains, a 2+2 train. So, what do they need? Well, the 2+2 will rust when the first 4+4 is purchased. It would be great to get that 4+4 because there's only one of them available. So many things to consider. But to do that, I have to buy a second train. Then the Hessische would buy one. So if I buy a second train, I don't know, man. This is hard to time. You know, there are 3 trains available here before the 4+4 comes. So how can I get that 4+4 train? The Sächsische will buy definitely one, but it's really hard to understand. The Preußische will then start and will possibly also buy one, but maybe they buy more than one. And if they buy 2, which is kind of unlikely because, well, maybe not. I don't know, man. I really don't know. I really feel tempted to buy 2 trains with these guys from the Sächsische, so that the Sächsische has then the money to buy the 4+4 train. That would be really cool for them. But to do that, I also have to buy the 2+2. Oh boy. Or maybe not. Okay, here's the thing what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna buy 2 trains. I don't know, it might be a mistake to do that. But I think I wanna buy 2 trains for $500. That leaves enough money. I don't even need that much money, I think. Basically, I need only $400. That leaves enough money in the Sächsischen to buy a 4+4 and problem is, of course, there's not a lot of trains now in there. I can do that maybe once, but then I really want a new train. Okay, well, such is life. I'm going to do it like this. That allows me then to buy a new train next turn for the Sächsische, and here is still a bunch of money in there. It's about $450. So I think that's cool. I think I'm fine here. The thing is, though, if I buy the 2+2, these suckers will not rust at the same time, which might be an advantage for me. I think I will do that. So I'm going to buy the 2+2. Yeah, I think that's okay. I mean, I'll be sitting on a single train then probably in the next, but I cannot run that many trains anyway. Oh boy, so many tough decisions here. I think I'll do it like this. Yeah, okay.
So I didn't manage to run anything, so the share value drops. And now it's the Hessische. And they can make a connection for 50 bucks, which is something they're gonna do, obviously. And then they can upgrade Mainz and Wiesbaden. Let me see what we want here. Something like this might be interesting. Huh. Oh no, that's bullshit. That's not good at all. What about this? Yeah, that works out. So we're gonna do that. And now we gotta... We cannot run, obviously, so again the share value drops. We gotta buy a train, and we can only afford a single train. Let's see. Okay, so that is 360. Okay, now we're in fourth. And here's the thing, we have the option now to buy that 3 train over. Maybe even the 2 train. But that's not going to work, because if we do that, we're going to lose. Yeah, that's the thing. You know what? I'm not going to buy that 4 train. I'm not going to do it. Because I want to shuffle the trains around a little bit. And I need my 2 trains to do that. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to buy this train and this train from the other companies. I'm going to pay $1 into the wait a minute. Yeah, okay. $1 goes here, and the other one goes here. And then I got all that crap left. Okay, cool. That's it for now. Problem with this is these 2 shares, they don't make any money at all. Because this guy cannot start the poison. That's an issue here. However, as I said, I'm going to need that 2 train to bring all this money in here. So I think this is really the only thing I can do. I think I will do that. Yeah, I think that's really what I want to do. It's a lot of money. So we start again with the minor companies. And I could try to screw up the Badensche. You know, there is basically no reason to help these guys in any way. But maybe I also want to help the Hessische a little bit. Yeah, you know what? That's hard to tell. Actually, the Hessische did this upgrade. You know what they can do now? They can place a token, and I think I want to do that. They want to place a token somewhere in this area, and I think actually I probably want to place my token here, because that will give me access to this city and this stuff here. I think that's a good idea. I want to place my token there. I mean, someone could block me here, but then there's still this way open here. Is it? Well, it will upgrade at some point to the double X, which is... What are the double X's? No, to 1X. These are these guys. Technically, doesn't mean I have access here. So you know what? I think I gotta place it here then. Oh, that's okay too. Means I gotta spend 1, 2, 3, 4, so I gotta spend 80 bucks for that token. That kind of hurts, but I think it's an important token. Okay. Now, we start again with company number 1. And yeah, not totally sure what to do. Should I screw up the Badensche? I think I might be able to hurt them if I lay a tile like this, for example. Or they want to try to help my own company. You know, I think it might be actually more interesting. Maybe I want to upgrade this thing. It's 56. We got a special upgrade tile or upgrade thing for these double dots. So let's see where that is. 56 upgrades to 87. Now let's see what that is. It is this sucker here. That's 87. So something like that. Now that's not terribly great. But I think it's not bad. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna remove that and instead place this here. Okay, nice. And then we're going to run for, well, we have two trains, so we're going to run for 80. Uh, 40 for the company and 40 for the owner. And I forget the privates, but I'm going to do that in a minute. First, I'm going to now buy. I'm going to buy this train for everything I have over to these guys. And then I'm going to buy the 2 train for all this shit over here. And then with these guys, I'm going to buy a 4 train, or maybe it's probably going to be a 4 train, and then I'm in a good shape. And now exactly what happens here, the company buys no, actually that is company 5. I see, I kind of messed this up. Company 2 is sitting down here. They're in the same spot, but they are so let me see, I think they want to lay a token. Possibly, possibly here. No, they cannot get there. Yeah, whatever. Then they simply upgrade this. Okay, cool. And they're going to run, pay out, and I'm going to go through the miners now and not do everything in detail here. So now the miners operated. They kind of closed this little thing down here, which is also pretty dicky. The Badensche is totally screwed. Until they can upgrade this tile, I think they can basically make no real run. So for them it's totally horrible. Now the Sächsische will start as the first major company. They got 2 3 trains, and they are now in the position that they probably have to buy a 4 train. Something they didn't really want to do, but they cannot wait that much longer. So they hoped to get a 4+4, but it didn't turn out at all. So with 2 3 trains, options are kind of limited here. What are they gonna do? Well, they might consider going toward hard to tell. Maybe I can make that connection. I think I want to do that. Gonna spend 50 bucks. I'm gonna make change. There's nearly no money in the bank. So the Sächsische laid a tile here, They cross the Elbe, and they have 2-3 trains. And basically they can run from Hamburg to Berlin, and then they can run from Dresden to Berlin, to Hamburg via Berlin. That's pretty good, I think. So they cross 4 times 40 is 160. No, actually it's 5 times 40, so that's 200. And then they make another 30 here. So that's 230 with 2 trains. That's pretty good. And they're gonna pay that out, I guess. Yes, they will. So, and then we're gonna buy the first 4 train for 360. And remember, that is already a permanent train. So, I mean, on the one hand, it's a good thing, of course, to have a permanent train, but you want to be careful because the train limit is 2 at the very end. You don't want to get stuck with 2 4 trains. That isn't that great. So 1 train is okay, 1 4 train, but you don't want to have 2 of them. What happens now? All the 2s go away. So that is basically our first rusting event now, and look how deep we already are in the game. I mean, it's insane. We played that game for quite a while, and this is now the first rusting event. But I like that, you know. I like these slow-paced games. Everybody's screaming these days for short games. Just want to play 1830. It takes only 10 minutes. But hey, this is not 1830, but you know, some people really like to have their short 18xx games. I enjoy that a lot. Okay, so it seems all the 2s are gone. The lock limit for the minor companies is now 1, which is fine. Nobody's above that. The others are at 3. I'm pretty sure nobody has to escape. Nope, has to discard a lock, a train here. And now what happens is, and I wonder if it is right now, yes, this guy can now open the Prussian, and he wants to do that. There's only a single train in this. I mean, he's got money, but he has a lot of shares of the Prussian. The Prussian is super powerful, so I want to do that. I want to open the Prussian. So all that money and that train will go into the new company. In addition for this, for the Berlin-Potsdamer Bahn, I get the presidency. For this thing, I get 15%, 5% of these shares. So let's see, this is 5, and that is the presidency. So at the moment I'm sitting on 35. I still got that one, which I can also exchange, and I will do that right now, I guess, for another 10%. So I hold now 45%. There is still a chance I'm going to lose the presidency. For example, if this guy sells his part, this sucker could pick it up, and then I'm going to lose it, which would be that bad, of course. They might come up with something to stop me or so. That would really suck. Now, the other players may decide if they want to exchange their privates and their miners for the share. And this guy actually, I think he won't. Because right now there's only a 2+2 train in there. The Prussian will not operate this turn, I think. Pretty sure about that, at least. Yeah, so the Prussian will not operate. They will start operating next turn. So basically that means this thing will make more money. So you can still exchange it. Wait a minute, I think you have to exchange it at the beginning of an OR. or of a stock round. Yeah, but the Prussian will not buy trains this OR, it will only buy additional trains next OR. So one more OR, I think we should hold this thing. This guy, though, he definitely gives away his 3 minor companies. They're all totally worthless now. No trains, no money. And it costs him, he gets 20 bucks for those. So twice, 5%. And I think, although I'm not totally sure about that, a single 5% share of the Prussian does not count against the certificate limit. So that's kind of cool. I think if you have more than one, it counts basically like one share if you have 2 or so. But we see. Okay, so he is sitting now on 40%. If he gets another 10%, which would be exactly this thing, the Braunschweigische, I'm losing my presidency. However, this guy might also sell his company, and this goes also now, he's also exchanging that one for 5%. It's also totally worthless. Okay, so this goes in here. So all that's left now is the Braunschweigische Bahn, which gives 10%. So now all the miners tokens are now tokens of the Prussian. 2 tokens are still left in here, and you can see all the money here. And of course the money for the 4 shares is also in here. So we're talking about, I don't know, a lot of money, that's for sure. It's about, I don't know how much is in there. I think it's about $1,000 or something. Maybe not quite. Yeah, I think, yeah, it's definitely $1,000. That's what we have in here. That's a lot of money. Okay, then that was the Sächsische. The Prussian will not operate, we already said that. So we can just simply flip it. And it's the Bayerische now. The 3 plus 3 can go from Fürth to Hamburg. That's pretty amazing via Berlin. And then we got a 2 plus 2 trains. So we basically can go from Berlin like this via Dresden. Then we have one guy left, and I think I might simply go, I'm not sure, maybe just like this then with the other 2 train. It's possibly the best. I'm not sure. Maybe it's better to actually, yeah, I think that's probably the best. So I'm done with the 2 ORs. The Württembergische managed to make a connection here with the help of the Bayerische, by the way. He thought, hey, I'm invested there with 30%, so why do I want to make them too much trouble? And they laid a token here in Nürnberg, and then they could make some solid run here, which doesn't hurt the Bayerische, but the owner makes still money. And apart from that, not too much of interest happened. Everybody paid out. The Hessische bought a 4 train. They still have a bit of money left here, about $300, maybe $350 or something, so they are good. And well, they have a good connection to the Ruhr area, and they're making good money here. The big problem is the Badensche is really screwed, and they might have a chance to now make a connection through here in the next turn to Frankfurt, basically. It's not where they wanted to go, right? But I don't know what they can do otherwise. Their plan was to go to the Ruhr area, but that is not going to happen now. But at least they have a solid run then. Well, okay. But they could only run a single 3 train more or less. They got to find a way to really go to a good area, and that's going to be very hard for them. This was extremely painful, these 2 tile placements here, especially that one. I mean, here, that he did on purpose, hoping to break through here, because there is no way he can go in here anymore, I think. Okay, so I'm done, and hope to see you in the next video or on lonesomegamer.com. Bye.